It's all good.
No one does it better.
The dance floor is now open.
Inspiration Hour with Reverend Major Kwame Opoku. It's time to ride.
We love listening to the Inspiration Hour with Reverend Major Kwame Opoku.
Inspiration Hour with Reverend Major Kwame Opoku. It's time to ride.
Connected with on the Inspiration Hour with Reverend Major Kwame Opoku.
Inspiration Hour with Reverend Major Kwame Opoku. It's time to ride.
Connected with on the Inspiration Hour with Reverend Major Kwame Opoku.
Inspiration Hour with Reverend Major Kwame Opoku. It's time to ride.
Connected with on the Inspiration Hour with Reverend Major Kwame Opoku.
Inspiration Hour with Reverend Major Kwame Opoku. It's time to ride.
We love listening to the Inspiration Hour with Reverend Major Kwame Opoku. Connected with on the Inspiration Hour with Reverend Major Kwame Opoku.
Inspiration Hour with Reverend Major Kwame Opoku. It's time to ride.
Connected with on the Inspiration Hour with Reverend Major Kwame Opoku.
More music, more variety, less talk.
Inspiration Hour with Reverend Major Kwame Opoku. It's time to ride. Inspiration Hour with Reverend Major Kwame Opoku. It's time to rise.
All right, good afternoon. Wherever you are. Once again, we have made it. So far you are alive today means you have made it. Today is a day that God has made for me and you. But I always remind you that you have to appreciate God all the time. So far as you are alive to see today means you have to appreciate Him. Let's give Him thanks, give Him praise, and give Him adoration. We are here on this Wednesday. We all know the reason why we are here. You know, we are in a state of emergency. Let your food be your medicine, but don't let your medicine be your food. Always let your food be your medicine. Because if you don't eat properly, if you don't boost your system, then you have to depend on medicine. But you see, we got food supplement. It's not chemical. Called Maliamdina. Because sometimes even if you are fasting and you took Maliamdina, it's like you are eating already. It gives you more energy to stand, to pray, and to do whatever you are doing. So this hour we are here about Maliamdina. We are not here about anything. Today I have the great man here. The Professor Sally Jr. is in the studio and is ready to come and speak to you about your health. By the courtesy of Maliamdina. So it won't be long. I'm going to introduce the man to you, and this afternoon he's here to come and then deliver something better to you. Let your food be your medicine, but don't let your medicine be your food. That because you don't boost your systems, you always depend on medicine. Before you always depend on medication before you can live in this earth. It will help you. So we are here to come and educate you, entertain you, educate you, and give you information. I always say deliverance is knowledge. Deliverance is knowledge. If you have knowledge, it makes easy for you to come out of everything that is fighting against you. So this afternoon, without wasting my time, I'm going to introduce Professor Sally Jr. to you. Professor Jr. is in the house. Professor, welcome. Professor Sally Jr., welcome to ARK Radio this afternoon.
It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Good.
It's a joy to be here with you. And I always believe wherever we are always looking at ways in which we can create awareness. First of all, I want to apologize to listeners. We weren't able to be with you last Wednesday due to some personal circumstances. Want to also, first of all, give thanks to Reverend Major Kwame for, as always, providing us with a space to grow in awareness and also to increase our capacity to really do what we do best, which is to really share information and do things in a way that we can begin to empower and strengthen ourselves in this season that he has called the health state of emergency. Yes. Today we have got to realize we're living in changing times. We're living in times of great, unprecedented times. So we have to look really at in a very, very, what I call, we have to look within ourselves. But before we go further, I want to give thanks to what we call the Most High, the Creator of all. We call Him many names, Nyame, we call Him God, we call Him the Katonda, we call Nyakusika, and many other names that we have called the Creator, the Most High. And many times we may begin to really understand that there is a force of nature that actually moves through everything. There is a consciousness that pervades the whole universe and the whole planet, and everything we do at any point in time, we have to go back and really recognize that there is a season that we are in right now that was already preordained as part of a divine plan. So we're here as human beings, living in a time what has been termed as COVID-19 state of emergency. And we are going through it. We are moving step by step through it. But at the same time, with all the restrictions and regulations, we are looking at a new world that we weren't experiencing before. So in this particular time, we just want to, first of all, give thanks once again to the Most High for the gift of life, for the gift of health, for the gift of being able to be here and be present to what is going on, and also to know that a better day is always unfolding. We also want to give thanks to those who've gone before us, those who are what I've called those great and illustrious ancestors, those who are our forefathers and foremothers. They have laid down the foundation. In fact, we are walking on their shoulders. We want to realize the great Olmecs, the great Mayans, the great Aztecs, and all those who built the Now Valley civilizations, those who gave us what we call the wisdom of wellness, which is from the great Imhotep. And Imhotep has always been championing health as the father of medicine. And also want to give thanks to the Ashanti kingdoms that ruled over the Western Africa. We also want to give thanks to the kingdom of Zimbabwe, the kingdoms of the Buganda kingdom, as well as also the Zulu kingdoms. Many kingdoms have spanned across and brought us into who we are today as a people. We want to give thanks to people like the Kwame Nkrumah, who was a visionary, and he also laid down a vision for an entire nation. We also want to give thanks to Steve Biko and Patrice Lumumba, and people of like Emperor Haile Selassie, the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Dr. Africa, Dr. Sebi, Professor Sally, many people who have been leading in this field of health and wellness. I want to rise them up and say thank you for all their contributions they've made, and all that they continue to make in this plane that we call planet Earth. Which was in the good book they did tell us, let the herbs be for the healing of the nation. Okay? And sometimes we forget that Father God has planned this planet so meticulously, so accurately, in the seasons, rhythms. Everything is in divine order. In fact, the planet is so organized to such an extent that what we see maybe as going out of place is not really in the scheme of things. It is just a change of the girds, a change of the season. And we are now in a time where health is needing to be in the focus of our awareness. Why? Because, like Reverend Kwame was saying, people are living in a state of emergency. He also mentioned the fact that many times people have resorted to disease management. They're managing diseases, living with cancer, living with diabetes, living with high blood pressure, living with prostate cancer, living with all kinds of challenges. But at the same time, the body itself is not really in a position where it is able to now cope, and that is why we're seeing an ever-increasing number now even resorting to operations. And now, even in this COVID-19 season, a lot of the operations have been cancelled, a lot of the operations have been postponed, a lot of the people, doctors are under restriction in terms of seeing patients. People are now being offered what they call online consultations. They cannot actually go in and see their doctor anymore, and this is all because of the change of environment. Today we've got to realize that we are always going to be a product of our environment. And why do I say that? Because in today's world, you are literally so interfaced, interconnected with your environment, it cannot be any other way. The temple in which you live in, which is the physical temple, is literally an extension of yourself. It is not who you are, it is just an extension of, it's your house that you live in, but you're not the temple that you're living in, you're just literally using it to navigate here in the physical plane. So when we realize that, we've got to find ways of looking after our temple. We've got to find ways of knowing that our temple, if it's the DNA, is renewing itself every 2 months. Your skin is rebuilding itself every month. You have a new liver every 6 weeks. Every 5 days you have a new stomach lining. At the same time, your brain is changing every year. And you find that at the same time, you are in a situation where your blood is rebuilding itself every 4 months. And you have a new skeleton every 3 months. So the body is always changing inside. So what we're realizing today, as we move forward, we are now coming into a time where we are going into what we call the winter months very soon. And this will mean there's less levels of sunshine, less levels of strong, intense sunshine. So a lot of us will start to have what they call vitamin D deficiency. because of low levels of sunshine. And we are now realizing vitamin D is so essential. It's made right underneath our skin. In fact, we're realizing that vitamin D is required for calcium and phosphate absorption and also utilization. In fact, there's a lot of cases right now where the lack of vitamin D is being linked to prostate cancer. The lack of vitamin D is being linked to breast cancer. The lack of vitamin D is being linked to so many what we call disease challenges because of low levels of vitamin D. Today, we're seeing that as we know, calcium is very important for our bones and teeth, but also we're understanding that if you don't have enough vitamin D, you cannot actually process your phosphorus or calcium properly in the body. And this also starts to compromise your functionality as a whole. One thing we want to realize today is that the situation that we're in right now, we have to go back to understand that everything comes down to the fact that you are always going to be in a state where everything is pointing to one thing. How do you nourish yourself better? How do you create an internal state of health and well-being? And one thing we want to really go back to is really the fact that our systems depend on that internal environment. And today I've chosen a subject that I think is something that I'd like us to look at today, because it is important for us to understand we are not just what we eat, but we are what we assimilate. Okay? Because when we eat food, we also have to focus on how we digest that food, how we assimilate that food, how that food gives us the energy that it gives us, also sustains, repairs, and allows systems of the body, from your immune system, your lymphatic system, your nervous system, your digestive system, your brain system, all the systems of the body to actually operate optimally. Now, in order to achieve that, some of the things that we want to do is understand the power of us using something that's been used in so many years, which is literally the power of herbs and spices. Why I've chosen this subject today, before I go into any subject, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Stephen Sally. I am a holistic intuitive therapist. I am literally in a space where I also provide a range of natural nutritional health supplements that boost the immune system, give you energy, repair body cells and tissues, as well as also help to optimize the body's capacity in terms of healing and well-being. This is a product called Mariandina, which has been developed by Professor Sally, who was a researcher in both Western and traditional herbal medicine. Professor Sally was able to treat over 18,000 patients with an 80% success rate. And today what we want to really harness is the power of understanding herbs, nutrients, and also spices, what they do to into aiding our system into optimal development and optimal healing and optimal well-being. Today we're seeing that many times when we talk about a product like Mariandina, we realize that Professor Sally was able to treat over 18,000 patients with an 80% success rate. Some of them had asthma, some of them had lupus, some of them had different conditions like diabetes, prostate dysfunction, some of them had angina or high blood pressure, all different forms of cardiovascular disease. But what Professor Sally realized in his early research is that the immune system was the number one way of healing the body. And that is why he focused his entire research on that immune system. He realized, even as we're facing a major pandemic right now, that if we don't actually take care of our immune system, we cannot utilize or defend ourselves. In fact, the reason why any virus or any bacteria can actually invade the body and attack the body is because the body's immune defenses are low or are down or are compromised in one way or the other. So what he really wanted to make sure that we were able to achieve is the capacity to respond. Your body has the capacity to respond and heal itself, but when it doesn't have the right spare parts, when it doesn't have the right nutrients within it, when it is lacking key minerals, key trace minerals, key macro minerals, when it is lacking the essence of what we call the right vitamins, you're going to find that your body is going to be compromised. And that is why you find that some people have a constant situation where they're constantly experiencing symptoms of immune deficiency, which is where they're feeling listless, or they're feeling tired all the time, or they already have what they have recurrent infections, or they're in a situation where they're experiencing where they have a kind of experience where they have constant low energy, chronic fatigue, or they have what they call autoimmune diseases like diabetes or MS or conditions like high blood pressure or lupus. These are all conditions that are termed as autoimmune conditions. So what we've got to think about is that the immune system is literally, in a way, adapting to the environment, and also the first components of the immune system start with what we call the breastfeeding. Breastfeeding is where we get most of our antibodies from our parents, mainly from our mom when during the breastfeeding process, where she passes on the defense mechanism that is prepares you for the future, and also empowers you to really have a strong immune system later in life. Those who are breastfed for longer have a stronger immune system later in life. Those who are hardly breastfed at all, or were in formula milk, have a deficient immune system, will also have a deficient system of responding to conditions that they experience in life, because the body is weakened and has not managed to really build a strong foundation. What we also want to understand today is, as we move forward, is that the immune system can be compromised by many things, and many times we're realizing that by the time people realize that the immune system is compromised, it is sometimes very late in the day. They've been put on all kinds of aggressive treatments that in further weaken the system and also bring about a sense of demise of the person. So what we want to understand is that I'm just going to mention 5 key things. The first one is toxins. Toxins impede the immune system. Many times we ingest toxins. We've done a take on toxins before. In a couple of shows back, we talked about how toxins sometimes are reabsorbed into the body and don't come out of the body, but at the same time, the fact that many times toxins can actually impede the body's systems and not allow the body to operate optimally. For example, if your liver is not functioning properly, it can impede the way your body is detoxifying itself. The blood is always being filtered by the liver. So if we're not in a position where we can begin to really create better liver health, when we can actually now find that we are compromising the body, because the body cannot actually get rid of toxins properly. I mentioned the power of hydration. Hydration is so important to the immune system because it is what allows the body to assimilate nutrients as well as also to remove toxins from the body. To detox, you need water. Water is very important for lubrication. It's very important for actually what they call absorption. It's very important for really improving digestive tract functionality, but also is very important in terms of cooling the body down, in terms of really how we use our water, because our bodies are literally 70% water. So water is very essential. In fact, we should always focus on how much water we are absorbing. The next thing that can compromise our immune system is the fact that we are deficient in certain key vitamins, key minerals. We talked about, for example, in the season we're in right now, we could be deficient in beta carotene. Beta carotene is the #1 nutrient that the body uses in defense of any infection. In fact, as that starts to become deficient, the body's defenses also become low, and you become susceptible to any infection or disease. Today we are seeing COVID-19 in a position. Now, COVID-19 being a viral infection, we are also understanding that there are many viruses, from Coxsackie virus, hepatitis, or even other retrovirus like Ebola virus or HIV/AIDS virus. These are all things that now we have to really find a way of really securing ourselves by securing our defenses. We talked about things that actually could compromise the immune system. We also have to realize that we're living in a time where we are suffering from a high degree of electrical pollution. Many times we're realizing that we're using a lot of devices, we're using a lot of phones, everything. We're surrounded by so many devices, and these eventually have an impact on our health and our well-being, eventually weakening our systems, because our systems are also electrical in nature. That is why Dr. Sebi talked about the power of electric foods. Now, in today's world, what we're seeing is that because of electrical pollution can come from mobile phones have been now linked to many of the challenges that also the fact that they won't insure them against causing cancer. They were also now saying that radiation is now from our electrical devices is also lowering our melatonin levels. The fact that we're surrounded with a lot of electrical pollution, it can also now impact our capacity to produce good amounts of melatonin and serotonin. In fact, there was a study done in Italy that tested and took devices away from children for about a period of about 14 days. and did another control group where they left the children using their devices of tablets, phones, and other electrical devices, and they found that the children who had been kept away from these devices had higher levels of melatonin and serotonin in their systems. Now, this also means that those who had lower levels of serotonin and melatonin were also predisposed to getting different forms of diseases. So we're seeing the link between electronics and our physical bodies. Today we're also seeing that one can be compromised by the fact that there's a poor level of what they call the body's capacity in terms of really not even, one could say that how good is our digestion. If you got low levels of gut flora, that can also compromise your immune system, because 80% of the immune system is actually in the gut. So when we are actually having poor gut flora because you've taken a high degree of antibiotics for a long time, this can also compromise the way your immune system is dealing with the levels of how well your food is digested. So what we're saying today is that we have to really understand that the immune system is the number one process by which the body actually defends itself, calibrates, and also regulates itself. Today, we want to really look at the power of herbs and spices. Why? Because it's very important for us to understand, just as I've been talking about a lot of these things that may compromise the immune system, and there's many others, over 90 different things that can compromise the immune system. If you haven't heard of something called geopathic stress, this is also something that is ley lines that cross underneath our houses sometimes, that can also release what they call dangerous rays that actually impact our immune systems. So if you haven't heard about that, look into geopathic stress, GEOPATHIC, geopathic stress. And this can actually impact the immune system and also cause our systems to not function properly. So when we talk about herbs and spices, one of the things we want to look at is that herbs and spices have been traded for years. In fact, there have been spice wars. There have been people who have been looking at using even spices as a currency. Mainly we refer to spices and we look at the Western world, the Eastern world, and we find that a lot of people in India are using spices for healing. A lot of people are using different spices in terms of their cooking, food preparation. Sometimes people store spices and preserve them in oils, or they're using spices in different forms. But how can we utilize these spices? Because they've also got a very high degree of medicinal properties that we can all take in. And many times when we look at spices, we also want to remember that a lot of these spices are easily available in supermarkets, but many times we are not aware of the power of what we call utilizing of these spices. And we're finding that today something as simple as allspice, which is sometimes called pimento, has got natural inbuilt anti-inflammatory properties. It's got anti-cancer properties, and this also promotes enzyme activity. It's also very good for toothache, but also allspice has got key nutrients like calcium, vitamin C, it's got vitamin E, vitamin A, and at the same time it's got magnesium. All these are very good for helping to heal the body. Sometimes we've heard of another spice called Star Anansi, okay? If you're hearing about Star Anansi for the first time, it's a very important spice as well, and this is also used to treat digestive problems. If you have digestive problems like or things like coughs or bronchitis, this is a very powerful spice that you can utilize, again, even for treating asthma. In fact, in China it was used for rheumatoid arthritis, and you find that a lot of people sometimes use Star Anansi as a breath freshener, but also is very important for healing inflammation in the nasal tract, and also helping with what we call your digestive problems, as we said earlier on. So we can actually incorporate a lot of these things in our food. We're talking about really spices today because I chose this subject because it's very important for us to understand the power of some of the things that we have at easy access within reach but hardly use. And I also want to talk about basil. Basil is something that has got a sweet, pungent smell, and it's part of the mint family, and it's very important for relieving digestive disorders, including stomach cramps. It also is very good if you're constipated. You can add basil to your food, again, as one of the herb that can help you with also immune system building. and also is very good for treating intestinal parasites as well. So what we're seeing that basil is also one of what they call a lung friendly herb, because it helps with any lung disorders. Just a simple basil. We also have bay leaves. Bay leaves are also things that can be used. Bay leaves are things that we normally use in terms, again, they help with what they call relaxation and managing stress. So if you tend to get migraines, or if you tend to have what they call stomach or intestinal issues, you can use bay leaf. Bay leaf is antibacterial in nature, but also very good for the body as well. And these are things that we can easily get in any supermarket. We also want to look at the power of seeds. And for example, caraway seeds. The caraway seeds are actually very important for soothing what we call stomach disorders. And if you are a nursing mother, the caraway seeds can help you in producing breast milk. And also it can help you in treating bronchitis, colic, as well as also if you got any bruises, you can use caraway seeds as part of a poultice, and you mix them and literally make something that you can wrap around the bruised area. But these are things that caraway seeds, which can add again to our food. If you look at the Indian world, they're using a high degree of spices. But many times we don't really understand why something like this, all these spices are included in the Asian diet. Now, spices play a key role in our healing as well. And even as I talk about all these natural remedies, the Father has already put them in what? The herbs are for the healing of the nation. And when we look at spices, we want to really understand what they are, what they do, and how we can utilize it. Not just to say, because healing is something that we're doing on the go. And there's something called cardamom. And cardamom is something that is used and sometimes as a tea, but also used to relieve gas. If you're having a lot of gas in the stomach, it can also relieve gas, but also is very important in aiding digestion. Usually they use it to put it in rice. When people are preparing rice, they have cardamom in there, but it's also a very powerful sexual aphrodisiac as well. So you can use the cardamom spice as well. And one of my favorite ones is cayenne pepper. Cayenne is literally renowned for stimulating circulation. In fact, it is in marinating a bee. You have cayenne pepper in there. Precisely put the cayenne pepper in there because it actually is very good for stimulating what we call circulation, but it's also a natural anticoagulant, and is also very good at dealing with heart attacks and strokes, and also it's aids in the production of endorphins in the body, and which are literally the body's natural painkillers. But at the same time, you find that this is also helping ease arthritis or inflammatory disorders of all kinds. This is just a simple cayenne pepper, which you can use anytime. One of the things we're seeing is that some of these things are at our fingertips, but we sometimes don't engage them in terms of how we can utilize them in a daily. Some people, they're also using them by putting them in what they call a pinch of cayenne in their sock. In their socks, and they find that this also, if they're feeling cold hands and feet, this can also stimulate circulation in the body. Some people take a teaspoon. It's not a very hot pepper, so it's something you can sprinkle on your food, and also something you can utilize directly. But also, we want to also talk about celery seed. Now, these celery seed assists in the flow of urine. Okay, one of the things we're seeing, sometimes the kidneys are very important in terms of filtering our blood and removing toxins and impurities from the blood, but also they can be aided by using celery seed. And we know celery itself is very good for the bones. So, but celery seeds actually aid digestion, the digestive system. If you got gout or if you got arthritis, this is also very good for that, celery seed. Chervil is another one that you can also utilize. Again, it aids digestion and also is very good as an appetite stimulant. Now, all these things are part of the family of herbs and spices that have been used in the Eastern world for quite a while now, and many people are using them all the time in terms of food preparation. One of my favorites is chives. Chives, again, is something that eases digestion. It protects against heart disease and stroke, and also increases the body's capacity to digest fat. So these are just chives, which again another herb that you can utilize in terms of food preparation. But all these, whenever you go to the supermarket, you can pick up some of these and add them to your food, because healing is not just about waiting to actually see for the magic bullet. Healing is something we're doing in every moment of now. It means that we're correcting, we're repairing, we're regenerating, we're actually allowing the body to actually utilize the natural herbs. Like the Father said, the herbs are for the healing of the nation. So things like chives can be used to actually in terms of literally the fact that they've got a very high iron content. It means that if you're suffering from anemia or feeling fatigued all the time or loss of iron, you can actually now improve this by actually adding chives to your diet. One thing we also want to share with you is that one of my favorites is something called cinnamon. Cinnamon is something that has got a lot of properties inside of it. In fact, just natural ground cinnamon, if you would just get some cinnamon, it aids people who've got nausea or diarrhea, or if you've got indigestion. Cinnamon is very widely used for that. In fact, it has got a lot of anti-cancer properties. That's this pure, simple cinnamon, ground cinnamon. But if you can, even if you can get an organic version, even better, because again, where things are grown also matters. So tests have shown in studies that have been done that cinnamon helps to stop the growth of liver cancer and cancer cells. Now imagine that. If you know that cinnamon is able to do that, wouldn't you want to use more cinnamon in your diet? And it's very simple to use. You can put cinnamon in a hot cup of water. You could put a teaspoon of honey and a tea bag of peppermint, and you can enjoy that hot drink. Many times what we're finding, there's cinnamon is also very good for lowering blood pressure. In fact, this was a study that was done by George University, where they found that just by utilizing cinnamon, they could actually lower blood pressure. And also Tufts University in America found that cinnamon doubles the insulin's ability to metabolize blood sugar. Just cinnamon in its own. So we're seeing that cinnamon also is very important in terms of the prevention of any form of stomach ulcers. So if we're going to heal the body and heal the body on the go, we also want to prepare the internal environment in terms of how the body actually copes with any illness or challenge. Today we're seeing that many people are suffering from what they call parasite issues. Other people have got what they call, in fact I always say, up to 40% of the people in hospital today are there because of parasite issues. A parasite is things like tapeworms, pinworms, roundworms, cryptosporidium. They have a variety of different parasites, and one parasite can lay up to literally nearly up to 2,000 eggs, even up to 2,000 eggs and beyond that a day. So we want to really make sure we manage our parasites by actually keeping the parasite load down. And cloves does it so well. In fact, cloves actually kills intestinal parasites. Cloves has been used, I mean, people are probably familiar with clove oil because it's used mainly for what they call toothache, but also at the same time you can use cloves for peptic ulcers. It's a natural anticoagulant. It's a natural anti-inflammatory. It's also very good for actually helping with preventing heart attack and stroke. That's a simple cloves, and yet many times we don't realize that a cloves has got this antimicrobial, antifungal nature within itself. So we want to really understand that as we talk about herbs and spices, remember that whenever you are preparing your food, these are things that you can add to your food when and how is appropriate. But what we're saying today, something that is used and very popular called coriander. Coriander is very important for actually muscle and joint pain. Now, if you're going through a lot of muscle and joint pain, but also it's really renowned for again aiding digestion. So you can add coriander in terms of your wellness program as part of literally healing the body. Curry powder, the most important component within curry powder is called cumin. Now, cumin is something that actually is used to treat colic, is used to treat headaches, but at the same time has got a lot of antioxidant properties. In fact, it prevents cancer and blood clots that can lead to heart attack and strokes. But at the same time, you find that cumin, which is C-U-M-I-N, is the main ingredient that you find in curry powder. Yes, it's just a simple curry powder. You find that this, again, people will say, oh, I'm going for curry, but they don't realize as they go for this curry, there's a lot of healing properties that are within the curry powder, and they come in the form of cumin, and we'll talk about really things that prevent cancer and also prevent blood clots as well. Now, another herb that is quite common is called dill. And now these are, again, herbs that you can use. This has been used for thousands of years. It's very good for your kidneys, good for the spleen. It lowers blood pressure, improves appetite, increases circulation, but also helps prevent bacteria proliferation in the body. Fennel is another one of my favorites. Fennel is, again, very good for what we call aiding kidney and blood function. It's a very good for literally for those who are nursing mothers. You can use fennel to promote breast milk production. And what we're finding that fennel itself, or even the fennel seeds, you can now get fennel seeds. They're very good for, again, blood sugar balance, and at the same time, anybody's got bronchitis, anybody's got asthma, cough, or any TB. Again, fennel is very good for managing these conditions as well. One of the things we're seeing as well is that another very popular nutrient is fenugreek. I'm sure some of you have seen that on the shelf as well and said, oh, I wonder what that does. But again, fenugreek, these are all spices and herbs that contain a lot of antioxidants. And what we're finding that these fenugreek is very important for treating, again, coughs, bronchitis. Again, it is used to relieve the sinuses, as well as also relieve any asthmatic conditions. So these are things you can add, again, to food. Again, fenugreek powder is available, fenugreek seeds are available. So all these are things that we can also add. Now, one of the famous ones that is quite common is garlic. Now, garlic is antibacterial, antiviral, as well as also antifungal, and as well as anti-cancer. Garlic has a very important component called germanium. Now, germanium is probably one of the most powerful anti-cancer mineral on the planet. Again, you find it in mainly garlic and also in onions. But garlic, as we know, has got a lot of antifungal properties, and also is very good for protecting against bacteria. Again, during the COVID season, a lot of people were using garlic, and it's also still recommended. Garlic with thyme, ginger, onion. These are some of the 4 main components that were used in terms of helping to reduce the impact of COVID, of symptoms of COVID. Now, one of the things we're seeing also, ginger. Ginger is something that we know is very good for the digestive tract. And many times we find that ginger is, people sometimes use it for morning sickness, but also ginger destroys bacteria, and also if it's very good for lowering blood pressure, improving what they call helping with inflammation, as well as also reducing cholesterol, aiding circulation, but also most importantly, it actually destroys parasites and their eggs. So sometimes we are having what they call ginger that you can juice and take as a drink, or sometimes grate and put in your tea, or include in your food preparation. These are all methods in which you can ingest ginger, or sometimes if you've got a tickling cough, you could put a little piece of ginger under your tongue, and it'll stop you having that constant tickling cough. Now, another root that is also very popular is horseradish. We're talking about herbs and spices today. Remember, your kitchen is your healing space. I'll repeat that. Your kitchen is your healing space. That is why today we're focusing on herbs and spices. The power of horseradish. Horseradish is literally got a sharp, hot flavor. And in fact, it's got a lot of anti-cancer properties, but also helps to balance blood sugar, and also helps to loosen and remove mucus from the body, and also mainly from the lung area as well. So we want to see that some of these things you can find combined with mustard, and mustard, like I said, mustard seed is also renowned in terms of its capacity to loosen and remove mucus from the body. So we can actually ingest mustard seeds, or we can have a combination of horseradish and mustard in our system, and which can add it to our food and there's a lot of that in the supermarket at the moment. But mustard also with horseradish, they increase your metabolism. Now, sometimes you might be in a space where we're realizing that today the metabolism, even though it's managed by the thyroid, but we can also boost our metabolism by taking things like horseradish and mustard. And also this can, if you've got arthritis, this can increase the flow of blood to the area that is of pain in the body. What we're seeing is that mint is also another very potent herb that is very good for actually easing insomnia. It's very good for actually helping break down fat as well, and also by stimulating bile flow, but also very important for destroying pathogens and bacteria, and also cancer cells. Just a pure mint tea. So every time you have peppermint tea or mint tea, you're helping the body with all these things and assisting the system. Now, nutmeg is one of my favorites. Nutmeg is a natural anti-inflammatory as well as antiviral. It is mainly used to relieve gas, is to ease nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, as well as also is used to dispel infections. But at the same time, it actually helps with restoring body fluid balance. Now, another herb that is also very important is oregano. Now, these are things that mainly find, again, oregano is very good. Again, it's been used by Chinese doctors for treating fever, for treating vomiting, skin problems. Again, it's one that oregano can be used as a herb to remove mucus from the body, okay? And also it inhibits the growth of bacteria like staphylococcus. So whenever you're preparing food, put some oregano actually in the food, oregano in the herb, or sometimes you can use oregano oil. Oregano oil is renowned for treating and clearing parasites from the body, but also can be used for relieving aches and pains and also stiff joints as well. But again, this is something that we can use again on a regular basis. Now, another famous probably spice is paprika. Now, many times when we look at paprika, we look at it as a savory powder, but mainly it contains a lot of anti-cancer properties as well. Just paprika, it's a natural anti-inflammatory, and also is very good for immune boosting. Now, when I look about these herbs and spices, many times every herb and spice is made up of a lot of what we call antioxidant properties, and these play a key role in terms of healing and repairing a system. Whenever we look at these herbs and spices, we got to remember they have got a lot of what they call phytosterols inside of it, phytonutrients, and this is part of the family of antioxidants that we're talking about today. Today we're dealing with herbs and spices because we know everybody at some level must eat, and everybody at some level is preparing food, and we're now seeing that we're borrowing some of these things from the Eastern world, because again they have already understood the power of these spices. But many times we just pass them in the supermarket. We don't understand the power of paprika, the power of dill, the power of what they call curry powder, the power of utilizing things like chervil, or things like sage, or things like oregano, or things like coriander, or things like allspice, or things like caraway seeds, or all these, or even chives. We've been talking about these, but what we wanted to really understand is what do they actually do? I mean, we're just not using them for coloring the food and making the food taste nice. No, they've got a medicinal property as well. And what we've chosen is to look into that medicinal property, understand it, find ways of utilizing it, find ways of applying it, find ways of drawing it into your experience, so you can also get involved in the healing process of using herbs for the healing of the nation. Today what we're seeing is one of my favorites is parsley. Parsley is literally is used to ease digestion. In fact, parsley is got what they call a mild laxative effect, and is used mainly to help aid the lungs and the spleen. Okay, so this is also it's also diuretic, but again, these are things that literally, the more we use parsley in our diet, the better our digestion will be, the more effective our digestion will be. And rosemary is also another herb that stimulates appetite, aids digestion, improves circulation, is also very good for preventing food poisoning, but also most importantly, rosemary is very good as for relieving menstrual cramps. And we find that just by using rosemary, which is something very simple you get in all the supermarkets, is a powerful antioxidant, antiseptic, as well as antispasmodic. So we are understanding the power of using herbs and spices. And what we want to do today is to that everything the Creator has put in position is to realize that there is a healing effect in everything that I've just talked about. And one we want to really get into is the ideas that many times people are not realizing that a lot of these spices and herbs are very easily available, very easily accessible. I mean, there was one that was used by the Native American Indians called agrimony. In fact, this was used by the Native American Indians to strengthen the whole system. In fact, they use it for all digestive disorders, things to do with the intestines, the liver, the gallbladder, the kidneys. They used agrimony. In fact, agrimony has got properties that allow you to actually take out mercury from the system. It's got an absorbing capacity, or what they call a chelating capacity, to remove mercury from the system. But also the leaves of agrimony can be used to treat pimples, skin blotches, ulcers. In fact, agrimony has been used to treat athlete's foot as well as sores. So we're seeing that this is part of what we call the family of herbal remedies that we can actually partake in. Now, whenever we look at herbs, we also want to look at the healing power within herbs, and we've got something called alfalfa. Okay, alfalfa, the name itself is an Arabic word that means the father of all plants, because within alfalfa you have every known vitamin and mineral. In fact, that is why the Arabs gave it that name alfalfa. So we have to realize that alfalfa is aiding in assimilation of protein, fats, and carbohydrates. Is also very good at purifying the blood, but at the same time it alkalizes the body and also helps to detoxify the body. At the same time, you have alfalfa in Maridina B. Again, Professor Sari wanted to make sure that within the Maridina B, he was going to put components that improve circulation, detox, as well as also reduce inflammation in the body, because these are some of the main challenges we face as we approach what they call healing. But alfalfa is also very good for lowering cholesterol, but also balancing blood sugar levels, but also promoting the pituitary function of the body. One thing we're seeing is that alfalfa is also good for people who've got ulcers. Now, whenever we look at healing as we talk about healing, we want to really look at certain things that actually maybe sometimes we may not be looking at, because of the fact that may have not gone into detail about what these herbs and spices do. Aloe vera, one of my favorites, has got many uses. As we know, it's got a gelatinous, gooey feel when you cut a fresh one, especially. But it's very good for healing the skin. Aloe vera, and people use it in the burn. In fact, in the hospitals, they use it for burn victims, people who've got irritated skin, stings. Again, it's very good as if you've got chronic constipation. You can use the aloe vera leaf, you cut it into pieces, and you cut and you swallow it whole, and this will help you with, and its mucousy effect will help to move and shift stuff in the body, so it cleans the system, and it's got a laxative effect. In fact, it's a bowel regulator. In fact, if you combine it with peppermint and ginger root, it literally acts as a laxative. So these things, but it also has been shown to treat HIV/AIDS as well. What we want to remember as well, as we look at the healing power of herbs, we also want to understand that there is so much power in the healing of these herbs, and literally that's why the Creator stipulated to us that the herbs in the field were for the healing of the nation. Today we're looking at the healing power within herbs and spices, and I've just been sharing with you that one of the things that we can do is make an effort to include some of these things in our food or in our diet. Angelica tea. And if as we're coming into the winter months, sometimes we realize people start to have cold hands and feet, or the ears are very cold, or the ears gets frozen, or because of the cold, they find that their nose is very cold, or So these, just by drinking some Angelica tea, this actually warms the body. In fact, it improves circulation, and it is literally one of the best teas to have in the winter, Angelica tea, and you can get some very easily from any herbal store, and that is something that is useful for all kinds of intestinal or stomach difficulties. But what we're finding today is that if we want to really also treat rheumatism, this Angelica tea is very good for that. In fact, what we're realizing today is that many of these herbs are easily available, and a lot of them are within the Mariandina product. And for example, astragalus is another one within Mariandina. It is actually something that Professor Saleh put in the Mariandina, but astragalus is probably one of the most powerful immune boosting nutrients on the planet. Why do I say that? Because it helps neutralize fever, improves digestion. It's excellent for all wasting and exhausting diseases. In fact, you find astragalus aids adrenal gland function. It also improves metabolism. It promotes healing. It boosts and protects the immune system, and also is very good for people with HIV/AIDS, cancer, and tumors. Astragalus. Look it up. ASTRAGALUS. Astragalus. Remember, your body is always dependent on the internal environment. Now, that is in Mariandina as well. The bayberry is another what they call liver-friendly herb, and bayberry is used as a tonic for the liver, but also the bark of bayberry contains alkaloids that promote a secretion of bile. Now, it's in Mariandina J, and you find the bayberry actually helps to lower blood pressure. It helps to actually destroy bacteria in the skin. It helps to actually improve what they call cleanse the bowels, but also very important for liver health. And if you've got a sluggish liver, you need bayberry, because that will actually wake up and cleanse the liver very exactly. What we also want to remember that bayberry and astragalus are in Mariandina. In fact, bayberry is actually something that is used to treat a prolapsed uterus. Okay, and if you've got excessive menstrual bleeding or vaginal discharge, bayberry is the one for you, and you find that in Mariandina J. There's bayberry in there. Now, blackberry. Blackberry are things that these are blackberry roots and leaves. These have what they call. If you've got children who have got what they call constant diarrhea, you can actually give them blackberry tea, and is used for treating chronic appendicitis, or it helps with poor digestion. Another famous herb is black cohosh. This is mainly a women's herb, and mainly you find black cohosh in Mariandina. Professor Salas put the black cohosh in the Mariandina, and it is literally an antispasmodic, but also it's very useful for cramps if women are going through the menstrual period. It's very good for also menopausal symptoms as well, and is used for treating all kinds of pelvic conditions, uterine troubles. It's very good for relieving birth pains and also aiding the menstrual cycle. It lowers blood pressure, improves cholesterol, but also most importantly, it aids in inducing labor during pregnancy. When women are giving birth, they can use black cohosh. And again, you find that a lot of what we're talking about here in terms of black cohosh, bayberry, astragalus, they're all within the Mariandina. There's another one called black walnut. Now, black walnut is something that we have talked about several times, because basically it is rich in iodine. It is also has got a lot of antiseptic qualities that aid the digestion. It helps with mouth and throat sores, and also is cleanses the body of parasites. In fact, it lowers blood pressure and cholesterol levels. When you have an infusion of black walnut, you actually can help with what they call relieving of intestinal worms and parasites and roundworms, pinworms, all the worms we mentioned earlier on. But what we most also want to remember is black walnut is also very good as a laxative. Now, these are part of the family of herbs that we talk about. There's so many herbs, but we also have something called blessed thistle. Now, blessed thistle is like an excellent tonic. This mainly for increasing stomach secretion, stomach acid, but also most importantly is a tonic for the heart, blessed thistle. And it also strengthens your heart, it aids in circulation, it helps resolve all liver problems, that blessed thistle. And also is very good for lessening inflammation, and also it cleans the blood. It's a blood purifier. So if you want to clean your blood, in fact within Marina A, you'll find there's a lot of blood purifiers like things like burdock, yellow dock, and other nutrients that actually purify and cleanse the blood. The blood, as we know, is the river of life. Okay, so we want to maintain good blood health, and that blessed thistle does it so well. One of the things we also are understanding as we talk about herbs and spices, one of the things is blue cohosh, and this is different from black cohosh. Blue cohosh is mainly used to regulate menstrual flow, and literally it was used by Asian Indians, Asian Native Americans in a way of also inducing labor, and also was used for treating cramps. But also blue cohosh was taken by pregnant Indian women during the last month of pregnancy to aid in a speedy and painless delivery. Now, that is something that sometimes we may not look into, but it is something that these are herbs that are already doing much more. But because we're not looking at what they do and how they do it and what they're available for, we may not be able to see the benefits in some of these, because these herbs are already there, they're already existing, they already do what they do, and they've been used for thousands of years. So blue cohosh is also very important for easing muscle spasms, also for treating uterine contractions in childbirth, but also for nerve disorders and memory problems. That's blue cohosh. Now, one of the things we are realizing that sometimes if you've got edema, or what they call water collecting at your knees, or water collecting in your ankles, you can use something called bushu, B-U-C-H-U. Bushu actually relieves one of the best diuretics. This herb is used for all acute and chronic bladder disorders, and we're finding it also lessens inflammation in the body, and literally helps with what they call the sinuses, the prostate, and the mucous membranes, because of its capacity to really improve functionality. Now, what we're also seeing as well is burdock. Burdock is another very powerful cleansing herb. Basically, it's used to promote kidney function. You find also burdock is also in Mariandina. You find that this again is very good for helping the kidneys to remove harmful compounds from the body, but also is one of the best blood purifiers. Burdock root, in fact, is good for treating sciatica, rheumatoid rheumatism, as well as arthritis, skin diseases, and also has got an abundance of iron. Okay, and this is very important for blood function, but also it can be used to treat all kinds of skin disorders, and also it aids in elimination of excessive fluid from the body, like uric acid and other toxins as well. So that's burdock as well. So we're looking at the healing power of spices and the healing power of nutrients. Now calendula, again, this is something, calendula is mainly coming in. Sometimes you have calendula cream that is used again in soothing the skin or reducing inflammation in the skin, or if you've got burns or sores or bleeding hemorrhoids, calendula is very good for that. But also it actually it helps with gastritis, menstrual difficulties, vaginal infections, ulcers, cramps. This is calendula. Okay, Cascara sagrada, and this is part of what we call one of the most common laxatives that people use in terms of those who have chronic constipation. Cascara sagrada has been known to encourage peristalsis. In fact, it literally stimulates secretions of the entire digestive system, including the liver, the gallbladder, and the pancreas. It's excellent for removing excess gas from the body, and also liver and gallbladder problems. And that's Cascara sagrada. Okay, one of the things we a wonderful herb for children mainly is what we term as the herb that is catnip. Catnip is a wonderful herb for children. Again, for infants who've got a lot of gas or having stomach cramps or nervousness, catnip can be used for mumps or pain swellings, bronchitis, diarrhea, and it's used to again expel worms. But again, it's good for dizziness, headaches, insomnia, morning sickness. You can take catnip tea as well, and all these things are easily available and can help with the overall balance of the body. One of the things we're seeing today is that we are in a situation where we are understanding that the herbs themselves, like we said, have been sent for the healing of the nation. Many times we don't realize that everything is connected. There's something called chaparral. Chaparral is something that is one of the most powerful herbs, again, as an antibiotic, but also for bacteria, viruses, and parasites. It also actually helps to fight free radicals. It's very good for removing heavy metals from the body, and it's got an anti-HIV activity, and is used for treating inflammation. It's used for treating, protects the body against formation of tumors, cancer cells, and American Indians or American Native Indians used to use chaparral to treat cancer. And this is literally similar to another herb that I call pau daco, which has got a lot of anti-cancer and antibiotic properties. Now, as we move forward, we want to really realize that cleansing is really very important. We have just been through a situation where we've seen a range of herbs and spices, but what is most important is for us to understand the value. There's so many, we can't do it in one session. There's so many herbs and spices, but what we've been able to share is to stimulate your awareness about what they can do and how you can use them. One of the things we want to understand is that we're not going to use everything at once, but as we go through life, we can add things as and when we need to use them, but also to add value to our body. Remember what the Father said in the book, the herbs are for the healing of the nation. So find out more about them. Do your own research. Within Mariandina, you have a range of, our main herbal formulation is Mariandina Jade, which is very good for detoxifying and cleansing and also reducing inflammation in the body. In fact, a lot of the herbs in there are for treating digestive as well as also other forms of inflammation along the body. What we're seeing, we have, just in summary, we have Mariandina A, which boosts has 28 vitamins and minerals, which boost the immune system, give you energy, repair body cells and tissues, provide stress relief as well. But also, most importantly, Mariandina A helps you to actually improve the body's capacity to heal itself. It's got a natural self-healing capacity. It also reduces cholesterol in the body by metabolizing cholesterol better because it's got vitamin A in there. It's also got nutrients that actually boost mood, like vitamin B12. It's also got other vitamins like that actually improve mood function. Magnesium is also in there that actually helps relax arteries and veins. Manganese for your bones. It's got things like vitamin C for collagen production, and also many other things that actually optimize the immune system. You've also got Mariandina B, which is mainly another formulation of herbs and vitamins and minerals, mainly to improve circulation in the body. It also improves what they call gland and organ performance. It improves brain function, sexual function, and also heart function. It's got hawthorn for the heart, one of the most powerful nutrients for the heart. Hawthorn berry. It's also got things like golden seal. Golden seal treats inflammation all over the body. It's got gotu kola, Siberian ginseng. It's got a lot of herbs like panax, and also things that actually optimize like kola nut, optimize circulation. Cayenne is also in there, and alfalfa. These are part of the things we've been mentioning today that also are within Marinina B. But again, it's very good for optimizing energy function and hormone balance. That's Marinina B. Marinina J is our detox formulation. This is mainly for really removing toxins from the body. You've got 29 very powerful antibacterial, antiviral herbs in there, and also cleansers and detoxifiers of the body, and also for improving liver function, kidney function, and optimizing the detox and cleansing capacity of the body. Again, within Marinina J, you have 29 herbs. These herbs are renowned for their capacity to really improve the body's capacity to rid itself of toxins in the skin, in the blood, and also assisting the organs, what are called the excretory organs and glands. So one thing we also want to say is that we also have Mariandina syrup. The syrup is mainly for people who've got, it can be taken as a tonic by adults, but also is mainly guided towards children by improving children's immune systems, improving their vitality, improving their sense of wellness within, and also help them in terms of their healing capacity and their overall growth. All these products are available at mariandina.com. You can also contact our Reverend Kwame, and he will be able to help you to assist them. But if you want to know more information, we are available at mariandina.com, which is MARIANDINA, mariandina.com. And also you can find us on Facebook at Mariandina Nutritional Health. That's Mariandina Nutritional Health on Facebook. There's a lot of information, recordings and articles and everything on there that you can look at and also become aware of what the Marinina products can do for you. Marinina can be used for general health. You don't have to be unwell to use it. It can be used as a general tonic, 1 tablet twice a day or 1 tablet every day, just to boost the immune system. Again, giving you what they call the repair capacity of over 99 antioxidants, which you will feel within 7 days of using it and start to see the difference for yourself. We are on a journey. As we said, we started with our health is in a state of emergency, but what we want to go back to at this particular stage is that we have to begin the journey of understanding the why.
Professor Junior, I think you say a lot about the spices and things like that. It's very good at helping us also to boost our systems and things. But I think some of them is in the Mariandina, but I just want
I mentioned the ones that are in the Mariandina. I mentioned
the spices in the Mariandina.
You've got things like we talked about alfalfa. We talked about things like beta carotene is in there. We've also got things like vitamin C. We've got astragalus in there. Bayberries in the Mariandina J. You've also got things like dandelion. You've got things like cleavers, yarrow. They're all part of the Marinina range, and you find that in there a lot of these herbs and spices are literally very good for optimizing health and functionality. The reason why I talked about the spices as well is that a lot of these spices, even though we don't take them as something that is doing something, sometimes we just looking at them as flavorsome things, but they also have a lot of antioxidants built into them.
Okay.
That help in healing the body.
Okay. So let's come back to the Mariandina itself, the product itself. You got A, B, and J, and then the syrup, as you're saying. So I want you to the three. You got 3 different bottles of Mariandina, but I want you to mention each one, the components that you use it to. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes,
I just wanted to go one by one. What you are saying was something that is mixed, but Mariandina A. So if somebody is taking A, B, and J,
yes,
the A, what benefits are in A?
Yeah, we've just been through that actually.
Yeah.
We've just been through that. But I mean, the A mainly is for boosting the immune system, giving you energy, repairing body cells and tissues, and literally improving what we call the body's capacity in terms of healing and repair and restoration
Okay.
of the immune system. It's mainly targeted to the immune system. It improves heart function, strengthens the heart muscles, improves coronary function of the body.
The
A.
It helps
Heart function.
Heart functions.
Yeah,
And
reduces cholesterol in the body.
Okay.
It also is got vitamin C in there that actually improves collagen production, but also aids in what we call stress relief. Okay, just the awareness.
Okay, if somebody's in the stress.
Yes, it's
and
very
they
good
take
for
the
managing
A,
stress and
Marandina A.
mood function as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then
The
then
B is
the
for
B.
circulation, brain function, heart function,
Okay.
sexual function. Very good for optimizing that, but also really creating a situation where it aids in circulation and also aids in hormone balance.
Okay.
A lot of us sometimes suffer from hormone imbalance, and this the B is very good for balance. The J is for detox and cleansing. Okay, it's very good for optimizing the detox capacity of the body, the liver, the kidney function, and also improving what we call the process of getting toxins out of the body. And also we said that in many cases what the J is also doing is also assisting the immune system. The syrup is mainly for optimizing what we call vitality in the body. It's a tonic, separate from the A, B, and J, but can be used by many children. Adults can take it as a tonic as well.
The
Syrup.
the syrup for children. Okay.
We have to come to an end, right, because of the
Yeah, that's
situation.
the parking space.
Yeah, but
okay,
we want to thank all the listeners if you're tuning in today. We want to thank Reverend Kwame, and also for everybody who actually have used the product. You can give us a what they call feedback on your use of Marandina at leave a review to share your Marandina experience. For those who've used the Marandina, you can leave that at Marandina Nutritional Health and on our Facebook account. You can leave a review. You can also like us as well. Also to again raise awareness of people what we're doing, so that people can actually now get into the idea of holistic health and holistic wellness. Thank you so much, and we appreciate you, and appreciate Reverend Kwame for having us here. All the best.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's where we'll end the program, as we're saying. Also, thank you for coming to speak to people's life about their health. It's good. Let your food
Be your medicine.
but don't let your medicine be your food. And I think we'll meet again on Wednesday. Mariam Dina will come on Wednesday. Thank you. Here is Hack Radio. My name is Reverend Major Kwame. That's the end of the program, and I hope that I'll see you tomorrow, if God permit. God bless everyone, and I'll tell you, say bye-bye.